What is good, my people, my peeps? How are you guys doing tonight? How are you guys doing tonight? uh, Tonight is a night. Mm, 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 mm. They are truly copycats. They are truly copycats. You know, the odd thing is about knowing that you are a chosen one, knowing that you are even being a targeted individual. That most of us growing up, we did what we did. You had friends, you hung out, but a lot of us were solo artists from the gate, from the beginning. And even when we went out and did what we did you ever pick up that these people copy everything you do? And I realized that I slowly started to realize that in my goodness, I guess you would have to say I was a late bloomer in my 20s, early 20s. But I kind of blew it off. But tonight, I mean, sealed the deal for me. And I've been knowing they copy. Don't get it wrong. But when it hits home, when it hits home close to you, people that are actually in your family, and hold on, pump your brakes, target individuals. I already know about people in your family. Or at this point, are they really your family? But I'll get back to that. Oh my goodness. I have, well, okay, so in my early 20s, I would have to say mid 20s. No, early 20s, 22, 23. Um, and I first moved out, oh no, early 20s. When I first moved out and got my own apartment, I had a roommate. It was two single girls, just excited to be out, and free and on our own. And, and we moved into an apartment complex, and there were other women, other people, just young single people in these apartment complex. So I've always had no problems making friends. It's always become different when making friends, right? So I made a friend with one of the ladies in the apartment complex. Everything was pretty much mutual with us as far as being compatible for friends. Because she had a child, I had my son, and then my other friend in the apartment. Um, we were all just compatible as friends. But this woman was older than me, and this woman was, I think she was mid 30s, so she probably was like 35, right? And we became friends. Now, this woman had uh, her own long, pretty hair, and me at the time, I have really mellowed out because when I was going to school, I thought I wanted to be a hairstylist. So when I say I've really mellowed out, I used to love changing my hair up constantly, braiding. I did my own hair. And then I did people's hair in my kitchen as a side hustle too, right? So I was always constantly changing it up, or I would have somebody do my hair. But if I got my hair cut in a short cut, if I wasn't cutting my hair was braided up, braided down, and have a sew-in or something along those lines. But this woman, she had her own long, gorgeous hair. And it was, I kid you not, and I may have told this to you all before, but it was exactly like the movie Single White Female. So she started just mimicking, you know, me. That's mimicking me, copying me, but it was subtle at first, right? Um, and at the time, what I saw, I didn't, because I was young still, and I wasn't using biblical terms or anything, and discerning spirits and using those terms, right? But I did see something in her. Um, so we used to buy. Now, we were young, okay, but we had some friends that were questionable. And we had a friend, this a little young girl, she's skinny as can be, but she was a booster. Some of y'all may not know that terminology, booster. She used to go to the stores and swipe clothes or whatever, still shoplift. But we called them boosters because they would come to the apartment complex and sell their wares, right? And so, but I knew her personally because she wasn't that type of girl. It was so funny. She was one, it was almost, have you ever heard of preachers' children? They always are known to be the worst children, or um, it was like the total opposite of her because her father owned businesses, right? So, and lived in a nice home, and so she didn't have to do these things. It was almost, I guess, maybe a rush for her, a thrill. I don't know. But she didn't have to live that life. So I knew her personally through, her other persona, the good girl, her father owning businesses. And then I knew that she started boosting. And I didn't know that until I moved into this apartment complex, right? And she came there and she was selling her wares. And I was like, what? We chopped it up. And then I was like, well, what you got in the bag? And so, so we went on. And all of a sudden, this girl I knew before I even knew she was a booster, I knew her before then, stopped talking to me, right? This scenario, target individuals started keeping her distance from me. And I was like, because she would come in and I would want to see what she had to offer with not knocking at my door, but I would see her go into this older lady's house because she lived downstairs. I lived upstairs. And I was like, that is so weird because I didn't think she knew her, but I couldn't assume because I didn't know how long she may have known this person. Uh, so I didn't assume her length of her relationship, but it just seemed off because this woman was much older than all of us, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to ask her, one day I'm going to catch her by herself and I'm going to ask her. That's the type of person I am. I'm just going to ask or put it out there and let the chips fall where they may because I want to know. I'm not just going to hold it in and drive myself local. So one day she comes to our apartment complex and I see her leaving, getting in her car. And so I go out and run to the apartment complex and I was like, yo, such and such. Um, can I talk to you for a minute? And she was like, hey, you know how when somebody has that little standoffish, attitude. Yeah, what's up? I was like, what's up with you? I said, why haven't you come to my house? Why haven't you, I haven't seen you in a minute, but I've seen you because I've seen you go to other people's houses or you don't even stop by. What's going on? So she tells me, well, I thought you had a problem with me. I said, excuse me? She says, I thought you had a problem with me. And I said, well, where'd you get that idea? And she said, Oh, girl, downstairs. She told me you had a problem with me. You had a problem with what I do. Yada yada. She just ran down this whole list of lies that I had never said, never um even thought about. Right? I said, really? She said, yeah. She told. I said, I never said that to her. She said, well, that's what she told me. And some people will not come and confront you, and we as targeted individuals should know that, right? They'll hear lies from other people and run with it, and just believe that that is what it is. And so I was like, well, no, that's not what's up. Come back to my house. Uh, if you don't hear it from me, don't believe it, because trust me, I have no problems telling somebody I don't deal with them no more. I have no problems. And she was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. So she started coming back up, to see me and everything when she got her wares. Remember, she's a booster. And I did not say that I bought things from her, but I knew her before. And so um this older lady, we used to hang out. We used to go out, and she had a car. I didn't have a car. My girlfriend didn't have a car that lived with me, my roommate. Girlfriend as an old school girlfriend. Y'all, let's not get it twisted. Um, she didn't have a car, and so that was just another ploy for the downstairs lady. Okay, we can call her the downstairs lady. And so we would go out and hang out, and she would be the transportation, right? And so she noticed that this particular woman was coming back to my house, a friend that I knew, the booster girl. And so it's so funny. I did that. I don't know if you guys got to watch it, but and if I sound stopped up, y'all, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's the pollen or whatever, but I don't have a cold, but it's, I don't know. So just excuse if I sound stopped up or stuffy. I did I don't know, a recap of my thoughts about the Freaknik, right? And so here it used to be a time where the cars would line up on a particular street on a Sunday, and we would get dressed, and it was like a Freaknik, but it wasn't a Freaknik. It was just like fun. Guys would get their cars washed up. We get dressed up, and we go out and just hang out and talk and walk and drive down and up this particular street. That's all we did. It was just fun to hang out and socialize, right? So we did this every Sunday, and it was like a highlight for us to do. And so I remember wanting to cut my hair because I was one of my favorite singers is Anita Baker, and how her hair was cut. I wanted that hairstyle, but I did not want to cut my hair to get that particular hairstyle. So I went and got a sew-in, and I had my hair cut into that Anita Baker hairstyle. And so this lady who lived downstairs with her long hair, I think it was a good, well, probably shoulder length, but it was so pretty and flowing. And um, this Sunday we were getting ready to get, well, we weren't, the Sunday is the event. So Saturday we were talking about going down and going to, let's just call it the strip. It's just a strip of a street where everybody hung out at. And so I said, yeah, I'm going to get this Anita Baker hairstyle. And she was like, oh, are you? And I was like, yeah, I think this is going to be cute. And I rarely, when I was younger, wore my hair short. Every now and again, I would wear a short hairstyle, but most of the time it would be in a long hairstyle. And so I told her about it and everything. She was like, oh, okay. And so that evening, the booster girl comes up to my house, but I see her stop down at the older lady's house first, and then but I knew she was coming up to my house, right? And so she comes up and we're talking and chatting and everything and just laughing and getting ready, talking about, the event that's coming up that Sunday, that particular Sunday. And so there's a knock on the door. And so I said, hey, come in, because we all knew each other in this neighborhood, in this apartment complex. And so enters the downstairs lady, right? And when I tell you, if I knew then what I know now, I would have known I was looking at a spirit um, in this woman. It was the way that she came into, and now mind you, my hair is done. It's cut in this Anita Baker hairstyle. It was fly. Done. I'm in there. The person had done my hair. She's in my apartment. The booster girl is in my apartment. My roommate is there. And the downstairs lady walks into the apartment. And the look in her eyes as if she was not there. It was as if she was her eyes were like glazed over. And the way she was walking, it was like our mouths dropped, right? And her hair, her hair was cut in the Anita Baker hairstyle. They copy. They are copycats to everything we do. But when I saw this woman walk in, and it was as if it was not as if it was, but at the time I was so very young, I did not know I did not know to call it. Yes, exactly. Demonic possession. Yes. Fully takes over. Exactly. I did not know what to call it then. I went to church and all that, but I didn't know about spiritual gifts. And I didn't know that depth of it all, right? And plus, I've told you guys before, I didn't watch scary movies. That was not my repertoire. Maybe like younger, like Freddy Krueger or something like that. But then I let that go quickly. But when this woman walked into my apartment, she wasn't there. It was something else. And it was like she was gliding and acting. And at first, I felt some kind of way because I'm like, is she trying to mimic me? That's what I that's what I thought. How she was walking and swaying, because I am, and this is who I am from being raised. Even when I worked in childcare, when I sat on the floor or how I moved, like I would sit on the floor with my legs like to the side, bent to the side, not always crisscross like you heard in school, crisscross applesauce. Sometimes I sat with my legs, like if a woman was to ride a horse, they call it saddle, what do they call it? Side saddle or something like that. So my legs would be sitting to the side. Or how I dressed when I went to work, I didn't dress like everybody else. Even in high school, I mean, this can be fact checked. You know what I'm saying? So this even a woman in the where I worked with children at, she gave me a nickname she called me Maudie. And I was like, Maudie? She said, girl, because you act like you're a model coming on here and we working with children, blah, blah. So I'm gonna call you Maudie. I was like, okay. So we laughed about that. And it's just my mannerisms. So I told you that to say so you can understand the way this woman came sashaying and shantying in to the apartment, but it was as if she was mimicking me. And I felt some kind of way because that's what I thought. But I think it was her allowing this spirit to actually take over, because the way she looked, y'all, it was, I knew she wasn't there. And I was like, wow. So when she came in, I'm like, you cut your hair? And she was like, oh, yeah, yeah, I wanted to cut my hair, girl. You ain't the only one gonna be looking like Anita Baker, got yada, yada. I said, My hair is not cut. This is weed. This is a sew-in. I didn't cut my hair. I said, why did you actually cut your hair? Because next week, shoot, probably the next day, because I was young. So it was not a problem for me to change my hair up like the snap of a finger. I was blown away. And she was like, yeah, I cut my hair. And the way she dressed, what she had on, it was more along the lines of how I would dress. I Back then we had Escape came out. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet. Party on, and we had so some of their clothes were like baggy, hip hop, boyish styles. I never dressed in a boyish style. I always dressed real feminine. It has always been my style. But for her, it wasn't, because she, like I said, she had long hair, so most of the time she would have her hair pulled back in a ponytail, and that was it. And her style was like Tim's, and back then we had well, I didn't wear them, but they wore like baseball shirt looking jersey type, like boyish hip hop style was more her look. So but when she came up in that house with, it was a like a shirt, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was more like feminine, something that I would wear. So I was at first just shocked that she had chopped all her beautiful hair off. And so then I look at everybody else in the apartment, and their literal mouths were open, like dropped. And so she, kind of sashayed around and sat down. And then it was like a movie. It was like the music stopped, everything stopped when she came in for us to process what the heck we're looking at. And so, after I asked her about her cutting her hair off and everything like that, um, then it broke the tense energy that was in the room when she entered, right? And so everybody kind of slowly went back to what they were doing. And then she was like, Booster, she asked the Booster girl, can I talk to you outside? And so she was like, yeah. And so they went outside. I immediately went to the kitchen window. I did. I immediately went to the kitchen window and looked out the blinds. And I seen them kind of going back and forth arguing. And so I was like, well, what is up with that? And so then the downstairs girl goes, kind of storms into her house and closes the door. So I come out of my apartment and I go downstairs, and because the Booster girl is walking to her car, upset. And I was like, "What? Hey, what's going on? What happened?" She said, "I don't know what's going on with you and her, or what, but I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want, I'm just not going to be selling or coming around here anymore." And she walks off and goes to her car, and I'm standing there dumbfounded, basically looking at her walk off to her car and looking at this woman's door, ready to go check her, right? Because I was kind of, I was on one when I was young too. Uh, but I was like, just standing there and dumbfounded, basically. And so I said, no, let me go back to my apartment and process this, because the whole energy and everything that had just happened just seemed very, very extraordinary. Okay. So tonight, let me read what you're saying. Hold on for a minute. And my homeboy, 23 years old, was staring into my eyes. What? stuck and I caught him. We had we have the shine. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Oops. And I've caught that too. If you catch people like from your peripheral vision staring at you, I've caught that look as well. And so I was like, what? I just wondered, but I didn't even want to press the issue anymore because I had already talked to the booster girl and let her know that I had no issue with her. And hold on. And um and she was just in the house chilling before the girl downstairs came up, right? And I felt that if I'm telling you I have no issue with you, but you're listening to the words of somebody else, and I don't know what that person is saying to you. And if you don't see, I'm the type of person, if I'm confronted and somebody says, well, so and so said you said this, well, let's go talk to them. I want to hear out their mouth, what did I say? Because if I'm going to stand on business, I'm going to stand on business. That's just how it is. I'm not going to let people run me away from a situation or a friendship or anything like that. So I just let that go. And I started distancing myself away from that particular person. And if you've ever seen the movie Single White Female, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Her whole persona started replicating me, right? Started it started like she lost herself, or maybe she never had herself. She just has a spirit of that mimics and takes on other people's characteristics. And I did not know about narcissism and everything like that until child until my winter years of my life, right? Until now, a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, like the rest of the world, started hearing narcissism, narcissism, that's a narcissist. We don't wore it out now that we know what it is. And I think it shocked the world because a lot of us came across these spirits. And that's what a narcissist does. It's attracted to the light, the shine, if you will, of a person and their essence, and they befriend them or they love bomb them, and they do all of these things, and they start to take on the persona of the person that they have love bombed or come into a friendship with, because they have lost their own identity. I didn't know all of this at the time. I was fairly young. And so I started distancing myself away from this particular person. And so, just to start there, I wanted to say, when I started noticing people copycatting you or being a copycat, and I'm just going to jump into just certain particular ones, but it's always been little ones along the way. But another copycat incident I noticed is when I was in Germany with my husband at the time, and we had friends, army couples make army couple friends, and we would have events and get-togethers. Now, this particular girl actually went to school with me, but you don't know everybody in your high school, right? And so my ex was like, "Oh, we were invited over such and such house." And I didn't know the guy and I didn't know his wife at the time. This was like our first encounter. And I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go over there. I think we're gonna have a barbecue or whatever." We used to always just cook and hang out. And so So we go over to this couple's house, and she knew me. She knew me. And now, my brother at the time in high school, he was very popular. I mean, he was all-star state, football, track, one of those guys. So he was very popular, and I was like known as the sister. That's so and so's sister. Okay. So for her to know me, it didn't shock me. So I don't know if that's how she knew me, or what way. But she did know my brother, but I don't know how she knew me. Um, and so she was like, "Oh yeah, we went to school together." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh, we did? Okay." And um, so we started doing couple activities. Shopping, hanging out, cooking, partying, all of that. Um, but every time I would get something or buy something, or you know, as females, we in the kitchen talking, chopping it up, and the guys are doing whatever at the barbecue pit, whatever the hell they at, you know. And as females, we're talking about a dress or a skirt or whatever we done bought. And every time I would say, "Oh yeah, I got this and this," have you ever had somebody who would interrupt your conversation to say, "Oh yeah, well I got that too, but I got the top, and I got these matching shoes." It was, I got what you got, but then I'm trumping what you got because I have the matching belt, the shoes, the hat, it was always that kind of interaction with her. And the first 3 or 4 times she did it, I kind of blew it off. And then I was like, what is up with this girl? What is up with this chick? I'm just having a conversation. Just like she never did it with any other females when we're in the kitchen, or, on a shopping trip or something. She never did it with the other females, only with me. It was like she had to trump whatever I said, or she'd been there, done that before I did, and I was like, okay. I didn't want to go over to the house no more. I didn't want to interact anymore, because I'm not going somewhere to interact with somebody as if it's a duel or a competition. I'm going to go somewhere, hang out with the female, to hear your adventure that you had that week, her adventure, and tell my adventure, not to tell my adventure or what I bought, to have somebody always constantly, like we're in a duel, a swords match. And it became tedious, tiring, and boring, right? And it made me wonder, what is up with this chick? Why every time I open my mouth, she got that too? She done that too. So I started distancing myself away from her. Um, and then we weren't on the same type of vibe that much anyway. But I blew this off. All of these instances, I blew off. But when it comes down to folks in your family, oh my goodness. When it comes down to people in your family, first of all, I've always known I was the black sheep of the family. Let's not get it twisted. I've always known that. Um, if you're, let me see, how old was I? Elementary school age. I don't even know how old you are in elementary school. What, 11? No, that's probably middle school. How old are you in elementary school? Uh, I would have to say I was in sixth grade. So, however old you are in sixth grade, I cannot recall. Um, Maybe 9, 10. Um, and I have an older brother and an older cousin. that we stayed with in transition because we were a military family. So we moved a lot, and sometimes our household goods were in transit. So um, we would stay at my aunt's house. And sometimes my mom and them were going to the other duty stations to set up, get a house, blah, 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 all of that. If you know, you know, as an Army brat. So we would stay with my cousin and my aunt and her family. I'm the youngest of the family, of this, my sibling and my cousin and all of that. But my brother is only a year older than me, right? So we're not that far apart when it comes to age wise. And I can recall a particular moment that set, well, it's more than one, but this particular moment let me know there's something different here. Um, because when I and my brother and my cousin and my uncle, he's passed away, rest in peace. He was young. He was there, my mom and my auntie's younger brother, but he was real young. He was close to my cousin's age, which they could have been brothers and sisters because my mom's mother and father, they had him late in life, right? So, so he was like young too. So he and my brother were close, which would be expected because he's a young guy and my brother was young, but he still was an adult over my brother. So I have to say all of that to say this. So it was one particular summer we're in transit. So it's my brother and I staying at my aunt's house. And it's my cousin there, my aunt. My uncle was in the Air Force at the time, so I don't know if he was deployed or what, because he was always gone. He was Air Force. And so my aunt was there, my brother was there, my cousin was there, and my uncle was there. And it's summertime, and I'm about 9 or 6. And my cousin, spoiled. That she does not like to hear that, but she was spoiled, okay? I mean, everything. She had like motor pads. I mean, she was spoiled. Um, they were all getting ready to go somewhere. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going with somebody because my uncle was getting ready to go out to an event. And I don't recall what the event was, but it was some type of summertime event. My cousin was getting ready to go to some kind of pool party. And my aunt always worked. She always worked. So I believe my aunt was getting ready to go to work. So I'm sitting there, I'm dressed thinking, well, who am I tagging along with? Because I was the baby girl. Everybody got ready to leave the house. And I'm like, well, who am I going with? Well, now you know how kids are. No, you can't go with me. Oh, I can't go with me. Oh, I'm taking Ron with me. So they bounce out. And all I can remember is being left in that house by myself. No directions. Not there's food in the refrigerator, cook this food, or there's nothing. Everybody had left the house. Well, they'll be back soon. I think I can recall hearing. But that memory stuck to me so smooth and cool that I knew I was a lone wolf at the very ripe age of 9. With however old you are in 6th grade, I knew I was a lone wolf. So the doors closed. It's the early 80s. I'm looking around. My aunt and them, they lived in a fairly nice neighborhood. They were the first black people to live in this. It was a new. You know how the new homes are being built and everything. So it was a new um, community. So I'm in this nice house looking around with Italian furniture because they had just came from Italy themselves. Italian furniture everywhere. My aunt was a clean freak. House just spotless. So I decided just to go and see what everybody got in their closets. Shoes, I putting on jewelry. I'm just entertaining myself in this house. And that's when I knew, like I said, I was a lone wolf. Everybody came back, and it was like nothing was even mentioned about the fact that they had left me in a house all by myself, not knowing how to cook, not knowing really the home because it was fairly new, right? I just made it do what it do. I just made my own food with what I knew how to make, and took care of myself that day. And from that day on, that's how it was for me. I did not even rely on adults to be adults. But I knew something was off from that particular incident when it came to family. My cousin, skilled as an artist, she can draw anything. And I thought I actually wanted to be an artist because of how she drew. I knew about nowadays these people call them what are those Chinese? Oh, I don't know what they call them. It's a Chinese art. But I knew about this art in the 80s because my cousin had lived in Japan. Oh, what do they call those? These people cosplay these people all the time. I cannot think of what they call these. They're Chinese cartoons. And I knew about these cartoons and these figures in the early 80s. And so my cousin was a very good artist. And I thought I wanted to be an artist like her. So I would try to draw and things of that nature, right? But that just was not me. That was her talent. That was her talent, not mine. But being young, it was inspiring to see something uh, so beautiful because her artwork is pristine. And so I'm going to have to jump way from the 80s all the way into now. Oh wait, I can't jump yet because how as targeted individuals, we know our family. Sometimes I don't know who I heard this from, probably in somebody else's stream. We know our families may not be our families. Or I don't know. It just feels strange. And I can relate to whomever said those sentiments because the day that I was left in that house at 9, maybe even younger, absolutely alone, I that to me felt like these people cannot be family members, like blood, like that would give you the idea. Am I adopted? Because I'm straight standing here, not even three feet alone as a child. So that would put in mind, who are these people? Do these people know me? Because I don't know if they know me. You know. And it was the closeness of my other relatives to my brother. Now, somebody say, "Well, you're probably just jealous." You probably, and I'm like, not at uh 9. Excuse me, y'all. Not at 9, right? And so, jump to, I'm married now. We're older. My cousin would always have parties, birthday parties. Now, you have to keep in mind that, like, keep in mind now, because I'm just now telling you, my cousin and I are born in the same month, but she's older than me and my brother. We're born in the same month, her and I. My brother is not born in the same month. Matter of fact, he's born, let me see, 3 months after my brother and I were born. My brother was born. Okay? Um, or before my brother was born. Now, the interesting thing is, I had never really picked up on this because I wasn't really thinking about it in this way. But my cousin would always throw a birthday party celebration and say it was a dual birthday party celebration. And I never until later thought about this. And she would say, "Oh, I'm throwing a birthday party for my brother and her. It's the dual birthday party." So we would go to these birthday parties. The last one I went to, I went with my ex-husband. And it was a cool birthday, but we just chilling. And I never thought about, wait a minute, a dual birthday party when y'all birthdays is 3 months apart. And if it was gonna be a dual birthday party, my birthday is in the same month as your birthday. These things I never put together until later, guys, right? I'm like, wait a minute. This this don't make no sense. Am I tripping? Especially after waking up to the program, waking up to being targeted. I'm like, no, I'm not tripping. That don't make no sense. Unless you are deliberately wanting to, or thought that would trigger me, that I would be mad because you're doing a dual birthday party when your birthdays aren't even the same month, not even close to the same month. And it had to be something along those lines, guys, because her and I, our birthdays are in the same month, and my brother and I are a year apart, so it would only make sense if you wanted to do a dual birthday party that you would do it with somebody in the same month as your birthday. This happened for years, guys, that she would plan these birthday parties with my brother and her. But I just now picked up on this, especially evaluating my life after waking up to this program. But no worries, I still went to the parties, had a good time, and there was no trigger moment for me because there was nothing to trigger. There was I I don't know if they were trying to cultivate a jealousy, and I can't even say it was him because she did all the planning, right? So tonight, I'm strolling through the streets of the social media network. I have on Facebook, and y'all know I have already talked about Facebook, right? And that's more family or people that know you. Don't pay no mind because they only know you when it's good times, okay? Or whatever. or just to spy to your life, but keep their distance at the same time. So I'm on social media, and you guys know that I have changed my name on on this platform twice. Twice I've changed my name. Hold on for a minute. Let me cue this up. Let me show y'all something. Okay. Um, I have changed my name twice on here. The first one, or well, maybe three times. I think I started my social media platform a long time ago. Probably when YouTube first started YouTube. Because I remember when it was no commercials, when they offered to pay me back in the day when I had hardly any subscribers. This was YouTube at the beginning. Okay. And I mean, you could talk to people on YouTube, like inbox people, all of that. So I think I just had my regular name then. Then I changed it when I came into knowing about who I am as a child, a chosen one of the Most High, yeah, of the biblical Bible. So I changed it to Queen Esther, okay, because I read about Queen Esther's story in the Bible, and I thought, oh, I relate with her because I fight for people, and I will fight for my people, you know. So I was like, yeah, I'll call myself Queen Esther, and that's when I really had delved into the Bible, into the camps. One of the camps wanted me, this Hebrew camps wanted me to join their camp, but I didn't because I don't just join camps or people or organizations just quickly. So I was studying, okay, studying and learning. And so, with that being said, I was like, oh no, this is more. I'm gonna have to learn a little bit. I'm gonna do this on my own because there were some things I saw that just didn't sit right with me with some of the camps. And so I changed my name on YouTube from Queen Esther to Nikki Nicole, my radio name. When I was on air on radio, they called me Nikki Nicole. So I changed my name to Nikki Nicole on this platform. Man, I didn't want to keep Nikki Nicole because I went through some things with working with the radio station, and you guys have heard bits and pieces of that. So, and then I wanted to leave that behind. I don't want to be associated with Nikki Nicole as far as um, being that radio personality. So I thought long and hard for this name. And the dream that I had that I've shared with you guys about being in when I was up in the stars and all that. So that's where the name ethereal comes from. And I was like, okay, yes, it has a meaning, and it truly came from a dream I had. So that's where ethereal comes from. So I changed my name to ethereal. Now, mind you, going through these transformations and learning about who I am as a person, and in the beginning of my targeting, going and telling my mom now, we are Hebrews. We are this, we're Israelites. Yada yada yada. Nobody wanted to hear it. Oh, Passover. We gotta celebrate Passover. Yada yada yada. We gotta keep the holy days and this and that. And now, I know my mom is and my dad was alive at the time. Um, had been Seventh Adventist and all that for the longest. So I knew just me telling them and trying to educate them on the stuff that I was learning, that was going to be a long road to hoe. And then my mom is the type, almost like that the friend that I had in Germany always kind of very argumentative over it. It could just be a conversation and ready to argue or just battle or, and I don't like playing those type of games. I just want to have just a regular conversation. What did you do today? I'm gonna listen to you. Okay, okay, okay. Then I'm saying, it's a reciprocal relationship, and some people just don't get that. And but I would tell her about the Israelites, and then if I told her about something in the Bible, it was an instant battle. It was no, 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 you're wrong, and she hadn't even read it. And so my dad would have to say, no, Mama. He didn't call her Mama, but I just don't want to say her name. No, Mama. She, you know, Nikki's right. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna stop trying to tell them because it became daunting to always have a battle. But I got what I needed to tell them. We are the people of the Bible. They still celebrate Sabbath, so that wouldn't have been a big break or a change. And the dietary laws, that wouldn't have been a big change either. And just different things. And the holy days. Because one thing I do know, those churches, and those Seventh-day Adventist church, and when I told y'all about that time when I went back to that church, and they had all this Christmas stuff. But we know y'all not even as Seventh-day Adventists are supposed to be practicing these pagan holidays. But y'all got poinsettias all up by the podium and all that. That's Christmas. I don't care how you're not just decorating. You got Christmas paraphernalia in your facility, So y'all borderline. And that's another reason why I don't do the church. Okay? And that's just another reason. So, but my mom always runs down every chance she gets, she down the highway, down to my cousins, right? And so I know all of them have a social media and can see my social media. Oh, because when I was at the radio station, people want to be seen, so they like, and that's so funny. But it's a good testing ground of even if you have family who just want to be seen to be seen. If you feel what I'm saying. But any other post, not a like in sight from none of the family members, right? So tonight, as I was scrolling through, you have to remember I told you my cousin is an artist. And even last year, she had a showing of some artwork that she was going to be displaying. And I couldn't make it down to that particular event, but her name is nowhere near what I'm going to show you tonight. When I've been trying to tell these people about being Hebrews and about us as a people, the people of the Bible, these people blew me off. And down in my soul, something is telling me. Now, some of y'all Edomites might get offended. So, if you do, that's just on you. But some black folks only listen when white people talk, known as Edomites. Hold on. Let me get my water. Some people, known as black folks, Israel, only listen about anything that they may deem factual to be true is when white folk talk. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that they heard about Putin saying we are the Israelites. We are the true, people of the Bible. People in the Bible are black. Let me show y'all this. Now, y'all can tell me if I'm tripping. But my cousin's name don't start with none of this, what you about to see. None of this. She changed her logo. And when at first I seen it, because mine is ethereal, Cyrox with the E, right? I said, I know you lied. I said, oh, that's cute. And I was like, who? I said, this is my doggone cousin. Hold on. I gotta hide certain aspects of this. Okay. Can y'all see that? Hold on. Yep. Oh, my hair ain't showing. Oh, let me see where this camera's at. Because I am so. Go back. I just, I can't. I cannot. Hold on. Push this down. Okay. Ooh. Can y'all see that? Or is it? Okay, hold on for a minute, guys. It's not angled right. Let me turn this back off. Push this up a little bit. Maybe y'all can see it better. Okay. Oh, shoot. I probably had all the business showing. I'm not trying to show her name, but it is what it is. Because this blew me away. Turn the camera back around. Oh, hello. Hello. I don't want y'all to see it. Y'all see my hair is all up. Oh, Lord have mercy. Y'all better stop clowning with me, camera. Uh, uh, why is it not? It's There we go. There we go. We cooking with grease. Lord have mercy. Okay. All right. Y'all see this? Let me get it closer. That is too funny. Okay. Right here. So I'm scrolling down and I see this come down my timeline. Ashe, the artist. And it is just, y'all see this? It's an E. Y'all see the little star? You know how I do my ethereal with a hyphen and then it's TH, And I'm like, this is a trip. My cousin's name is nothing like this. And as an artist, okay, because you see it says the artist. As an artist, most artists sign their names on their art pieces. Unless this is something new to me where you're an artist, but people are going to have to try to figure out or try to, I don't know. It blew me away, guys, because I'm like, out of all these years, my cousin, first of all, let me say how old. My cousin is damn near almost 70, y'all. She's in her probably late 60s. After all these years, so I don't want this to come off looking like I'm just saying or just, making up something. This whole time, she's been an artist. I even have some artwork she drew for me for one of my plus size fashion shows that I did a long time ago. And I have her where she signed off on her artwork. So you mean to tell me it's almost curtains? Because I always say I'm in the winter of my life. My spring and summer, my younger years, those is long gone. I'm chilling. But you far removed from where I'm at. And you've done all this artwork. All of your artwork that you've signed off, you just had a whole, uh, um, what do they call it? Art display, reveal, whatever they call it. Last year, a year and a half ago, all of that art you signed off of, and you rebranded your name to Ashe. Do y'all know what Ashe means? The Hebrew woman. Now, I'm not hating if she finally realized that she's Hebrew, right? I ain't hating. All praise to the Most High. I'm not hating on that at all. I just find it ironic that she would pick a name, knowing that I just rebranded my name, Ethereal, and her format with an asterisk as a star, and Ashe as her name in Hebrew. It just seems so. It's not coincidental. It just seems deliberate, right? I said, they 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 watch us from a distance and they copy what we do. They mimic what we do, but won't say anything to you or unless it's you that call makes the first move or makes contact with them, or they're watching everything you do. And I know this was deliberate. I know this was deliberate. But I also feel that that name also wouldn't have been changed to Hebrew. The meaning, it's a Hebrew woman, Ashe, without her or anyone in my family knowing that they're Hebrew and it coming from Putin's mouth instead of my mouth or somebody else's mouth. You know, even one time my mother came and said, this doctor couple that used to go to our church, that they talked about that they're not celebrating the holidays. They do the holy days and Passover, and I was telling them, yeah, about Passover, and I just looked. You were telling them, yeah, about Passover. You don't even celebrate Passover. And I don't know what it is or why it's so hard for them to even acknowledge what you say without it being a fight, or until it's somebody who's white that says it that makes it right, right? Until some and if you don't know, I'm referring to Putin with his announcement of the people in the Bible being black. And trust and believe, I know they heard it. I'm sure it was announced at their church. I'm not being petty when I say this. I know that's why it is. My mom used to go to we founded a heritage church here. But she left that church and we called the two churches different. We called one church the white church. It was a Seventh-day Adventist church because mostly all the white people went to that church, mostly doctors and affluent people. Now, we had some affluent people in ours, but they were the black doctors and the black teachers and the black lawyers, right? Well, my mom left that church and went to the white church. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's been our whole life. That's been our whole life. We lived in um, neighborhoods that were more predominantly white neighborhoods because that's what she wanted to do. That's where she wanted us to be. So I know that the changes in my cousin's name that she just did a day ago, and she's right at the door of the creep, right? Damn near 60 years old, all this time with her artwork, and all of a sudden it's changed. Her no, it's not coincidental. To a Hebrew name, not coincidence at all. And especially with it being Ashe, especially starting with the E, along the lines of ethereal. I wish we had more of the answers that we, I think, deserve. When I saw that, I was like, wow, it blew me away. But then knowing the history of my family, and I'm not, I mean, I hope anyone doesn't take this the wrong way, but this is how I grew up. From my auntie, we always lived in white neighborhoods. I don't know if they were running from what they experienced in their childhood or what. I can't call it. I can't tell you. But I'm sure something had to happen along something. I don't know what. But growing up, that's how we lived. Those were the choices of where they wanted to stay. So much so that my brother would get headaches from us moving. I don't know if it was from us moving because we moved so much as children, or a combination of the moving and then having to adapt in communities that rarely had any black people in it. It's just wild. But it just makes me think too that it's almost like some of the like I was telling you guys, and I'm done with um, they always copy us because I know her logo is based off of the Hebrew. My name changed and her name changed. Mine starting with ethereal. I changed mine a year ago. Now just now a day ago she's changing hers starting with the E to Ashe. It just the artist known as Ashe. It's as if now you want to openly claim your blackness, you know, and your Hebrew heritage, because these are the people. If I show you a picture of my cousin when she was a young girl, her hair, because we do have Native and Indian in our blood as well. If I showed you a picture of her as a young girl, both ponytails were like you would think it was just a chocolate Indian little girl, Native Indian little girl, with long, like Pocahontas herself standing there. That's what you would think if you saw a picture of my cousin. That's how her ponytails used to be, long braided ponytails as a young girl. But my mom and them were always only wanted to focus on the heritage of the Indians. And so I always got pushback when I would say, when I came into the awakening, we are Hebrew. This is how, the journey. And I know down the line, we have Native people in our family as well. They didn't want to hear anything about the Hebrews. So for my cousin to change her name to Ashe, starting with the E, yes, it's not a coincidence. Not at all. And I kind of have that just, I'm sorry, that kind of just rubs me the wrong way as well. And I think we're going to see a lot of that as Hebrews or Israelites, the ones who I think this is my observation, that a lot of black, formerly known as black people, just had a deep-seated problem with themselves, from the color of their skin to the texture of their hair. Now, my cousin's hair would borderline on like a Puerto Rican, right? My hair texture goes back and forth. My hair texture is like, if I let it dry out in the sun, I can get an afro, but it's a very light, fluffy afro. But if I put water or gel on it, like my mom used to brag, oh, her hair just curls with water, and if I put a pencil in it and give her ringlets. So my hair is it's a in between texture, right? And I would get so pissed in conversations hearing them say, oh, such and such, they got some good hair. What the hell is good hair? And I remember one day they said that around about somebody, I can't recall who it was. They got good hair. I said, oh no, they should. How did they say it? It was the opposite way. They didn't get the hair from who, however they said it. They didn't get the good hair, basically. And I had to chime in. I said, oh yeah, they got the perfect hair. They got the hair from the motherland. It's always having to chime in to break that ideal that if your hair had less curls, that it was the good hair. So with this name change of hers, and bravo if she's waking up to who she is as a Hebrew. That name change is kind of close, my sister. Kind of copycatish, if you will. I wonder, how's it going to be for these Hebrew that black folks that's coming to the awareness? Because some of them only are going to claim it now that someone other than them said it. Because I'm sure they've heard it before with all these people on street corners and things of that nature, social media, saying you're a Hebrew, you are the child, you're a chosen one, you're the child of the Most High Yah. They were blowing it off until Putin said it because his skin complexion is pale. But he told his whole nation, we will now worship the black God. And now you're going to have some black folks only wanting to switch up because Putin said the God of the Bible was black. I guess I have just a problem with some of that. Because some of these black folks should, as old as they are, have gathered their own self-esteem and gotten it together. Even when we hear about some, even Israelite men, oh yes, get these white women, these Edomite women, have they don't quote that Revelation verse. I can't remember what verse is it in Revelation. Hold on, let me find it. They don't quote that. They're going into slavery. They don't quote that. They want to be copycats of the opposite way. For real, for real. They hate themselves too. They hate their whole skin complexion, all of that. Hold on, let me see. I can't remember what verse that is. They don't quote that verse though. They don't let the white women that they've been telling all these black men to go get, that them white women are not gonna be nothing but slaves. And it's true. What verse in Revelation, what chapter in Revelation talks about he who leadeth into slavery shall go into slavery? They don't tell them white Edomite women that they gonna be slaves and not even bed wenches. They bed wenches now. Like they like to call the black women when they with white men. The white women that's with black men, they're bed wenches now. They won't even be bed wenches because they won't even be allowed to be sleeping with these women. They will be in captivity. Even though they worship the Most High. Yeah, do they preach that? No. They have an issue with their own complexion. Let me see. Reverse in Revelations. Let's see if it'll pull it up. I need the King James Version. Revelations chapter 22, verse 13. Let me see. Where's King James Version? Here we go. They don't tell these Edomite women, aka white women, the ones that they tell all these uh, Israelite men to go get, that they will be going into captivity. No matter if they serve the God of the Bible, they still will be going into captivity. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword shall be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith. Oh, let's not give me the whole thing. Let me see. Revelations 13:10. Let's see if we can get it on YouTube. Revelations 13:10. They don't want to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. They have issues with themselves. Let's see.
But let's compare that to slavery in the U.S. because when slavery was starting in the United States, they weren't using Africans.
Let's see. I want the Bible verse.
This award right here is
he's
for
talking
making
about is in, let me say something. That guy, I don't know what he was talking about. What I just clicked on, they weren't using slaves. They were using pilgrims, and the pilgrims, some of them were indentured servants. That is not the same as chattel slavery. I get tired of hearing people try to use that as a comparison. That was an indentured servant. White people that were indentured servants. They weren't slaves because they were contractual. Once they worked off their debt, they were let free with all rights to the land and whatever occupation and whatever family they wanted to raise. That is not the same.
Chapter 13. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. They worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Wait a minute.
Killeth with the sword.
Hebrew men, are you telling these Edomite women that they're going to be slaves even if they worship the Most High Yah? Huh? Because you were sure pumping it up. Tell them to go get them. Just like my family members, I know they only listening and hearing that they're Hebrew. Not because I told them. A simple, AKA, otherwise known as African American, black girl, they family, that they were Hebrews and children of the Most High Yah chosen. Not because I told them, but because Putin told the world stage, the people of the Bible are black. Now he's jumping on the bandwagon. My cousin has changed her whole name, referencing, mimicking my name. They copy what we do. I have no problem with her coming into the awakening that she is Hebrew, but not copying my whole aesthetic. Okay? Now her name is Ashe with the E. That means Hebrew woman. I changed mine to Ethereal years ago. And I'm just wondering, these black men who now the world stage has heard that the people of the Bible are black, but they pumped out so much information about the white woman, go get, because the black woman ain't about this and that, knowing the black woman was just as much in captivity, knowing that the black woman was just as much going through these doggone trials and tribulations and curses, like she wasn't under the curses her damn self. And they promoted, they was on campaigns. Go get you a white Edomite woman, they gonna treat you better. I wonder if they gonna be on them same campaigns and say to them Edomite woman, you can worship the same God I worship, But you sure gonna be enslaved, helping to build up the kingdom. He that leadeth in captivity shall
Come near,
go.
let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up.
Are they telling them women that? You sure might be laying down with them in this time, but this cycle is up. You won't be laying down and doing the swirl in the cycle to come. You will be in captivity, but you won't get treated like we got treated. All Gentiles will be in captivity, but they're not telling them that, are they? No. So they probably will be with them in the lake of fire for all they lies that they spew. Because they want to copy the person who is in control now, the person whose kingdom is now, who is Esau. They want Esau woman. They copying Esau, trying to be Esau, trying to have Esau woman. And the black folks that are just waking up, some of them only going to mimic and copy Hebrews only because Putin put on the world stage that you are the people of that book. I wonder. Let's see how many of them go on a campaign to clear this up. All them Edomite women and all them women of the other nations that you got in your bedroom. Talking about this my second and third wife. Are you gonna let them know this? You a slave? You can follow the Most High? No, they ain't gonna tell them that. Because they can't. They liars. They copycats. And I'm out. And much love.